Hey everyone, this is my Sharepoint questions, and today I wanted to go over how to have any chart you'd like with your Power App, and that's to use Power BI integration. This comes from a question that someone asked me: how do I get more charts into Power Apps? And I think Power BI is definitely the best way to go. So I have a couple charts here, actually 3 of them, and the data does not really make sense, right? I just kind of put some data together just so I could show and visualize this. But on the right side in your visualizations is Power Apps for Power BI. And so this is how I'm going to integrate Power Apps into Power BI. It actually comes with instructions when you haven't done this before, but I've done it a few times, so it just skipped the whole instructions part for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new Power App. You can choose that, but what I heard is that does not work currently. Maybe it does. I have not tried it. What I'm going to do is create a brand new Power App. So once I hit that, it's going to send me into Power Apps. And my data is actually in SharePoint. So I have 4 columns here. The data doesn't really make sense, but it's just what I came up with in the top of my head real quick. So when I get into Power Apps, it kind of gives me like a gallery with what it thinks that I want to see, but I don't want any of that actually. The first thing I'm going to do is connect my Power App to SharePoint. So I'm going to connect it to that SharePoint site and get the URL and connect it. And my list is called SpaceList. And so now I have my connection. So what I'm going to do is create 4 text inputs. And I'm going to go ahead and name these text inputs, and I'll fast forward through this so you guys don't have to watch me name everything. But I do recommend always renaming all of your parts in your Power App. It's definitely... All right. So I have my 4 text inputs with 4 labels. So the first thing I want to be able to do is save. So I'm going to add a little save icon. So how am I going to save to SharePoint? Well, I'm going to do a patch statement. To me, that's simple. I've gone over this in my previous videos. If you'd like to learn more about patching, you can go to one of my previous videos about patching to SharePoint. But first what I'm going to do is I'm going to patch my SharePoint list. Is called SpaceList, and then I'm going to add my columns. So my first column is actually called title, and that is txtTitle.Text. My second column is NumberOf, and so that's the exact name of my SharePoint column. And since NumberOf is actually a number, I actually have to do the value of number or text NumberOf.Text. And I need to do that again for distance. So distance, the name of my SharePoint column, is the value of txtDistance.Text. And finally, cost is the value of txtCost.Text. All right, so I have my 4 SharePoint columns now being patched. So if I were to come in here and let's say I make widget 72, how about that? 3 of them, 300, 300, and a cost of $5. When I hit save, I go to my SharePoint list, refresh it, widget 72 now appears in my SharePoint list, and it has now patched to there. So now that we have it automatically saving to SharePoint, it's not going to refresh in Power BI yet. So what we need to do is add another icon. I'm going to make it this little arrow pointing down. How about that? So the first thing I'm going to do is save. Then we want to use our Power BI integration piece here. So I'm just going to type in Power BI integration refresh, close and end parentheses, and that's it. The only reason this command shows up is because we went from Power BI and we connected it. If you just open up Power Apps first, you're not going to see this command. So now I have two commands in here, and I'm just going to go ahead and save and show you, but we are missing another piece. So I'll call this Spacer app. How about that? We're missing one more piece to our Power App, and I'll come back to that after I show you in Power BI. So now we have, and we're missing this piece here. I'm not sure why. Let me add it back. Maybe I accidentally removed it. Let's see, cost, distance, number of. All right. So I got three charts, my Power App here. So if you notice that the data is not refreshed yet, so we have to go to our data set, refresh now, and still it's not here yet. Once we hit the arrow down, it shows up with our widget 72. So that's the part we're missing, is refreshing our data set. But we'll come back to that. Let me just do widget 34, number of 100, 3. So we're going to save. It saves to our SharePoint list. We can go to our SharePoint list and refresh. And you see widget 34. Back to Power BI. We go to our data set. Refresh now. Nothing changes in Power BI yet until we hit our Power BI integration button. Once we hit that, widget 34 shows up. So now the next part, let's add a button to refresh our data set. Now there's a few different ways to do this, but for me, I think the simplest way is just to use PowerAutomate. Maybe you guys don't want to use PowerAutomate, but for me, it's too easy not to. So you just add another little icon here. And so this icon, we're going to use an action in PowerAutomate, right? So an action in PowerAutomate. I'm going to go ahead and create a new flow. It's going to bring up some templates for me. The one I want is just a PowerApps button. So now when the trigger is when someone presses my button in PowerApps, we're going to do a new step, and it's going to go to Power BI, and it's going to refresh a data set. It's too easy. It's too easy not to do it this way. And so my data set is in a workspace in Power BI called test. And the data set is called spacers. And I'm going to hit save. And that's it. That's the entire PowerAutomate. I mean, it's too easy. It's too easy not to do it this way. So now I'm going to go back to PowerApps. I'm going to make sure my button here does the PowerAutomate, and the new one is this PowerAppsbutton-2. I didn't rename it. I should have renamed it, but that's what I did. And so in PowerApps, all we do is PowerAppsbutton-2 Run, open and close parentheses. And then I'm going to save and publish. Now you would need to share your Power App with whoever wants to use this Power BI, and it's going to refresh right now. So I'll just close all that down. It looks like it didn't refresh for me yet, so I'm going to save. I'm going to move off of it and move back on it and let it reload. And I should have my 3 buttons. There we go. I got my 3 buttons. Now you could easily combine all 3 of these buttons together into one button, but I just wanted to show you piece by piece. So now we're going to do spacer 99. How about that? How many of them? 99, a distance of 9, and they're going to cost $9. These ones are expensive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit my save button, saves to SharePoint. The refresh button here is my refresh the data set. So you could click here, refresh now. So boom, I refresh my data set, use PowerAutomate. Now the down arrow is my Power BI integration, refreshes my charts. You could put this all in one button if you wanted, but I wanted to show you all 3 of those parts. And look at that. Now we have any chart we can dream of in Power BI. We have Power Apps. We got it all together. I mean, all your charting needs you could ever wish for now, right? So thank you for the question. Please ask more questions if anyone has any. I just reached over 200 subscribers. Thank you all for subscribing. Like my video if you like my content. Hopefully this is helpful. And now everyone has the power to create as many charts with their Power Apps as they want. Thank you for watching.